Whoa, what do you get when the biggest superhero team just fractures? Captain America Civil War. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Give Recognition, where we give excellent assessment and reviews. And in this video, we definitely got to talk about Captain America Civil War. Now, Captain America Civil War is a 2016 superhero film directed by Anthony and Joe Russo. Serves as the third installment in the Captain America series. And it is set 1 year after the events of Age of Ultron, where international oversight of the Avengers ends up fracturing their Avengers group into two opposing sides, one led by Tony Stark, the other by Steve Rogers. And this film is phenomenal. Now, the story does pick up a year after the events of Age of Ultron, and the accident ends up happening that having the Avengers initiative being questioned. Of course, this decision does fracture the team, as one side wants to be free and the other side decides that it's better to have somebody control them. And the story is pretty good. It goes with a really good fast pace, but there are so many different twists in the story. Even though the bulk of the film does surround the fracture between this group of super individuals, there are a lot of great twists in it that do keep the film really engaging. The story does a great job of supporting the ideology behind both sides. You see why Tony Stark feels that they need to be under control with all of the damage and stuff that had happened in the previous films. And Steve Rogers also sees that he does concede to the argument of the collateral damage of the previous films, that it's better for them to make those choices rather than somebody above them, because that control can go sour. And I like the fact that the film does establish both ideologies. The acting and cast were just fantastic. They were definitely on point. One of the best aspects of this film is the fact that everybody was relevant. Not only did they have their own moments, but they had great dialogue, they had great humor, and that each character actually has an input that actually matters. I like the fact that even though Steve Rogers and Tony Stark are against one another, you can tell that they actually care, but it's just their ideologies that are driving them to do the things that they do. And I do like the fact that they kind of do have that respect for one another, where they don't actually see each other as enemies, but they are trying to save the other. That's one thing I really appreciate, and I do like that about all the characters. Even though these characters were against each other, they're not really against each other. Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther was freaking phenomenal. This dude was completely badass. He literally kicked all kinds of ass in this film. He literally whooped everybody's ass, and I really appreciate it. He was very agile, he was very strong, and I love that about his character. I appreciate the fact that his character had a really prominent role in the film. As a character, he does grow and he does evolve. Their costume looked completely badass, and again, this is one of those characters I really never cared about until I seen these movies. Tom Holland did a great job as Spider-Man. I really loved him. He was very energetic, he was very enthusiastic, he had the humor down point. He was great character. Spider-Man was actually relevant in the film. The film does a great job of establishing all of these different relationships between all of these characters and how these ideologies conflict, but also allowing the characters to actually be relevant, which is, once again, the film does a great job as. Zemo actually was a pretty cool character. I like the fact that he was menacing, he was smart, he was very manipulative, and I like the fact that it also established that even though he doesn't have powers, he can be just as much of a threat to the Avengers as any of the other villains that they face. Definitely got to give it to the film. The action sequences were completely badass. Specifically, the huge fight between the Avengers. That was literally the best scene of the freaking movie, and it was great seeing all these characters go at it at one another. But even though they do care about each other, you see that they both have to just, everybody's digging in their heels, and they actually gonna defend what they believe in, and the fight was great. You see great characters, you see it have great dialogue, you can see the relationship strain between the characters. Visually, the film looks superb, everything looks great, the character designs were on point, costume designs were badass, the technological designs were pretty good, had really great set pieces. This film just looked completely amazing. The score was fantastic, it was memorable, it helped emphasize the badass moments and some of the emotional moments as well. There were some questionable moments here and there, but they weren't enough to completely distract me from the movies. The story does feel a bit more personal, because here you have Tony Stark, then you have Captain America. They're really good friends, and then Captain America is trying to save Bucky, and Bucky is becoming between these two really good friends, and that's because Captain America and Bucky were friends first. You see this big confliction between these three characters, and I really did like that. It showed a lot of emotional weight. In the the end, Captain America Civil War is a terrific film. Not only does it have a great engaging story that's compelling with great moments that are memorable, funny, and emotional, there are a lot of talented actors and actresses that just sit here and just completely bring it. The characters are completely badass. They all have great relationships. They have great dialogue. They have great moments. They have memorable moments. The characters all matter. The action was great. It was well shot. It was intense. It was entertaining. The score was just beautifully done. Does a great job of just giving the film a very epic feel on every set. The visual effects were completely badass. Aside from the little nitpicks I had here and there, the film was just flawless. I have to give Captain America Civil War a 5 out of 5. This is definitely one of the best superhero films, not only of this year, just of all time. Anyways, guys, in the comment section below, let me know, have you seen Captain America Civil War? What did you think about it? And also, are you Team Cap or are you Team Iron Man? I know that a lot of people will say they would like to join Cap's side because of the freedom, but I honestly do understand Tony Stark's position when it comes to the order. And also, who did you like more? Black Panther or Spider-Man? Because personally, I'm kind of conflicted because both of them were badass and they had great moments. Alright guys, be sure every Friday to stay tuned to this channel because videos will be uploaded. And until the next edition of Gear Breaking Nation, and remember guys, keep those gears turning.